going to look a little bit more about reports. I'm not sure if it's time for a break, but we start with the shift and web reports, and then we take a break before we continue with MUR analysis. So we've already been inside MUR shift and reports, and let me go to a good date for making reports. I have August last year, where I have 3 weeks I like to look at. And typically you start by selecting the machines and time interval. But you can also, once you made the selection, you go to the tab report. And here you can adjust the selection. I want to start on Monday, and yeah, looks good. And then you can check which machines to include and which shifts to include. And these shifts will be used to cut out the data only during the shifts and ignore the data outside shifts. If you have shifts that work over midnight, you have more options down here to make sure the report gets correct. So the work shift is assigned to the right day. But that's not something we're going to go through today. So once we have this configuration ready, we click to create report, and the report is being generated. And once it's done, we have this view. And here you can choose to customize the shifts and the presentation. And right now I have a few prepared. So let's look an overview of the machines. And what we can see here is the list of machines and the stop codes, how much time has been spent on each machine. And this view can be customized. Right now we have the machines on the left hand side, which we can see that the rows are machines. And on the columns we have stop codes, which we can see here, columns, stop codes. If I like, I can switch them. I can drag from one to the other and switch the layout. But interesting, I can also create sub rows, and I have templates ready for that. In this example, I'm using just machines on the rows, but in columns I'm using both weeks and shifts combined. So we have the first week with the shifts and second week with the shifts. And lastly, we can combine it all together and have machine and stop codes separately. So that's the columns and rows. And for the value inside, right now we're looking at the time for each stop code at each machine, at each week and shift. But we can add more information. We can click inside the green area. And here we have a lot of options to add. We can choose to represent this value as percentage or hours and minutes. We can choose to show the number of stops. For example, we have unknown stop for 6 hours, 38 minutes, but we also had them 10 times. And we can also include counter values, which is mostly interesting per machine and week and shifts, and maybe not stops because they're the same there. And that's why we get the red indication. So let me remove stop codes, only include total. So here you have the stop codes, counter values for each machine, each shift. And once you have the data you need here, you can print it, but you can also export it to Excel if you want to process the data in other software as well.